Hi guys. This week we're going to look at legal things. It goes without saying I'm not a solicitor, I'm a screenwriter, but these are some of the things I've come across and some of the conversations I've had with people. I've got a few notes down here, so if I look down there, it's just me refreshing my knowledge. The office is in mayhem, as you can see. I might get rid of some of these things. It's just a mess. And I've been very busy, so I haven't recorded anything in a couple of weeks. So sorry about that. So we're going to talk about the legal aspects of selling your screenplay. So here we go. First off, you'll probably get an option. Think of an option as a contract. It's the contract for the sale. And the payment you is the deposit. But unlike any other sales contract, like you're buying a car, where you have to finalize the contract, you put a deposit down, and then you go back and pay for the rest of it. Same as buying a house. You put the deposit down, then you go back and pay for your house. An option has this break point in the middle where you put the deposit down, and then the buyer has the option of not finalizing the contract. That's the option. I've used options in real estate as well, where you put a deposit on a property and you don't want someone else to come in and buy it from underneath you. So you sign an option contract and it'll give you 30 days or 60 days to execute, or even 6 months to execute the sale. But it fixed the price right now, so it doesn't go up if the market's on the rise. You've fixed the price, you've given someone the option. The option isn't a refund, like a deposit can be refunded if a sale doesn't go ahead. An option is unrefundable. So when you get an option, make sure it has a lot of the clauses you want in the sale contract. It should be the sale contract, because when they execute the option to execute that contract. So here's some of the things that you should consider, not a lawyer, but some of the things that may be important to you to have in that contract. The first one that I look at, and it sounds very, very vague, is the jurisdiction. I'm in Australia, so quite often contracts have the jurisdiction of being overseas. But if you live in London and the production company's in London, you sign a contract, the jurisdiction will be in London. If I'm signing with a London company, the jurisdiction will be in London. So what that means is if there is a court battle, it will be done in London, which means I have to go to London. It's going to be based on London law, not Australian law, which law is fairly universal around hearsay and things of that matter and evidence, but clauses and how clauses can be executed are jurisdiction based and the common law of that land, previous precedent set by other cases. So the jurisdiction is one thing to look at. So if the jurisdiction is going to be too hard for you to get to, it's going to be in Lapland, or I've signed one in Serbia. I knew there was going to be no problem with this production because it's very low budget. And being low budget, there was no legal mechanisms that they were going to sort of claw money back from, or that they were going to spend a huge amount of money. If they spent money on legal, it was probably going to be nearly as much as the entire production. So it would have always been a discussion. It would have been discussed between us. Clauses that extend the law. There was one that said me as the writer was indemnifying them, the production company, against copyright claims or those sorts of things. And I pushed back and they said, well, if you didn't steal anything, you shouldn't be scared of signing that. It's because it wasn't, and that sounds reasonable to everybody, but if you think through the implications, if someone makes a claim against them that the story was stolen from that person and I've indemnified them, they don't even have to defend themselves. They don't have to fight. They don't have to do anything, because I'm indemnifying them. I'm underwriting them. They would just say, okay, Craig, pay that person. So if I get paid $20,000 for that script, someone makes $1 million claim, they go, Craig, give that person $1 million. I said, that's not going to happen. They removed that clause. I said, if that person sues you, they win. You can sue me. There's fraud provisions. You're already covered by existing laws. You do need not to contract for that. The law covers you. We don't have to contract for something that is already in the law. So I don't have to indemnify you. We have copyright laws, we have all those sorts of things. We're fine. How much you're getting paid and how much you're getting paid at the end should be in the option. If it's going to be 2% of the cost of production, also have a minimum, because they might sort of start production with $100,000. You get $2,000, and then later on they raise more money, but they say, oh, we've already paid you, that contract's been, it could be a real mess. So say, it's 2% of production on the first day of shooting, but a minimum payment of $20,000 or $5,000 or 2 Snickers bars and a hamburger, whatever you're happy with receiving for your effort. State that. Also state when it's due. And also, the other thing I like to have in these options is when it's due, and also who gets the option to renew the option. So if it's like a $4,000 option, next year you get $4,000 because it's an anniversary. Next year you get $4,000 because it's the anniversary. Year after that, $4,000, and you can't resell it. You can't do anything. So there could have been opportunities you're losing. You want to make that sale. So, or say one renewal, then renegotiation. Put in there that it just can't drag on forever and ever and ever, especially if it's a cheap option. The other thing too is your fee. Your fee might be paid on the first day of production. Now, if it just sits there in development forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, you're never going to get paid. So put that in there. It's paid on the first day of production or 24 months after the date of the contract, whatever comes first. So at least in 2 years' time, you're going to get the fee, and it may sit in production hell forever. It doesn't matter. You've been paid. That's fine. At least you've got something. The other thing you've got to sort of understand when you've sold it, it's also not yours anymore. So it's theirs. Same with the option. You've signed an option. It's not, you haven't transferred the copyright yet, but sort of think of it as it's theirs. Because I was having a conversation recently with someone who in their option agreement, and I have to have a solicitor look at this, had, if I do rewrites, you pay me this much. If I do more work, you pay me this much. All that in the option agreement. And that probably sounded like a great idea. And they said they had a line in their option agreement that said any work done, the writer retained the copyright to. But it still was a bit of a can of worm thing happening there. I will do work for free and I've done this before, I've signed an option and the producer came back and said, look, they'd really like to see a scene that does this, or they think that person's a bit too whatever. Can we just make that change, and then the finance will give us money? And I've done that for them. I've rewritten that for free. The reason I did it for free is because that work is mine. Right? If someone pays you to do something, there's the idea of a master-servant relationship, or that they're buying your time, and the product of, or anything produced in the time that they own is theirs. It's in that contract. That guy's sure he's covered. But then you've got this weird scenario where you've got product A, which is the work you produced, product B, which is their changes. We've pushed those together. It's now product AB. They don't own the A side of AB, and you don't own the B side of AB. So AB is useless to everybody because they don't own the rights to A, you don't own the rights to B. So that's gone forever. So you say, I'll just throw it away. I'll go back to my A. My A was good enough to sell the first time. Yeah, true, fantastic. But what about if some of the changes were things that you probably would have done yourself? You were thinking that you may want to make, that character more aggressive or more forceful, even if you took out the scenes that they asked you to write and the dialogue that you added in for them. If your changes look like their changes, if you now make that character more aggressive, but through a number of different scenes, you now take on the look and feel of their suggestions, it does open up that whole, who owns that? Who owns those concepts? Who owns that story? Who owns whatever it happens to be? That's why I do it for free, because they never paid for it. I just did that work. That was my work that I let them have as part of the option for free. It was never paid for yet. Then when they sell it, you're getting the sale anyway, which is going to be more than the day rate they're paying you to do a few minor changes in the indie world that we live in. Okay? So those are just the basics. Now, there's the other one that a lot of people will say is, oh, but I've signed a shopping agreement. A shopping agreement to me sounds like that open relationship, friends with benefits. They're not your agent, but they still want a percentage if they sell it. Right? So they're going to walk around, and if someone happens to say, have you seen a limited thriller horror movie where the protagonist is a greyhound? And you go, I've got an agreement on. Yes, here's one. Bang. I'm going to take a percentage for that sale. Fantastic. Now you've got, you as that person, as the writer, has to get their own legal advice. This person doesn't help you. The shopping agreement, they won't help you negotiate a fee because they're only shopping. They weren't an agent. Everything that an agent would do for you, they're not going to do. Everything a manager may do for you, they're not going to do. They just shop it around and see if they've got anyone to throw their hands up. They're a matchmaker. They take their fee, they walk away. You still now have all the hassle of the option, the sale contract, getting payments, scheduling payments, making sure that it's registered for copyright. Everything that needs to be done is now back with you. These people have just walked around and found you somebody. You might say, that's worth the cost of admission. I'm willing to sign a sales agreement. But you also can't sell it to anyone else, because if you've given this guy a 6-month sales agreement, you can't sign an option with anybody else. You can't do anything for 6 months, and you're getting nothing. I would say to this guy, pay me, right? I'm going to sign a sales agreement. Give me a little bit of money. Just buy it. I'll give you a $15, a $50, a $100 option on it, and then it's yours, and you can resell that. You can do whatever you want, but I'm not going to tie something up for 6 months on the off chance that you stumble across someone. I don't think you're going to be that active running around doing whatever it's going to do, because if you're the sort of person that's really active running around doing things, a shopping agreement doesn't sound like a good business model. It just doesn't. You'd be an agent. You'd be a manager. You'd be somebody of consequence. That's just me. So I don't sign shopping agreements. I just don't. So we've got that. We've got option, the things that you should look at in the option, things to keep in mind in the option, that you're going to get paid, that it won't sit an option forever, even when they sign it as a sale contract, that it's on the first day of production or at a date, whatever comes first. Make sure you're getting your payment. Load as for the lower production stuff, right? This is the thing to remember. For the low value indie productions, don't say, I'm taking $1,000 and 10% of whatever it brings in through the door, 5% what it brings in through the door. These films don't bring anything through the door. Let's be realistic. Everyone goes, oh, but what about paranormal activity? What about this? What about that? Now, so-and-so made that film for $100,000 and it made $180 million at the box office. There is, at one time at the Austin Film Festival, they said there was 50,000 low and micro budget films being made. Okay? Name them. We can't, because there's one or two Robert Rodriguez. There's one or two Blair Witch Projects. There's one or two Paranormal Activities. Those 50,000 films made no money. I think it used to be called Film Trooper, or it was one of the podcasts that used to be on. This guy made a film by himself, actor, producer, single camera. He did everything. I think his wife was in the movie with him. Very, very small budget. But he also worked at a film distribution company. And he said he saw some movies that had named actors in it and things he had heard that were earning like $75 a month in royalties for VOD. Now, if you're getting 5% of that $75 a month, you're getting $3.50 a month. So if you think you're going to make 10 grand at $3.50 a month, it doesn't even pay for your Netflix subscription. It doesn't pay for a New York Post subscription. It's a coffee a month for a year's worth of efforts. So I load the front. If they say, oh, we can give you like $100, but 10% of the film, I say, no, don't give me a percentage. How much can you afford to give me right now? Tell me the biggest number you can afford to give me, and I'll see if that's enough. And you keep my future profits. If this becomes a $180 million movie, I'm confident it will, because I'm a good writer and I believe in you as a filmmaker. Good luck to you. You don't have to share it with me. But I have a need for cash now, so give me the cash right now. That's what I do. Thank you for everyone who's done that. It's fantastic. It's really, really good. There's a 20% off deal through this channel on writerduet. So for monthly and annual subscriptions, use that code and you get 20% off. You get the t-shirts, or black and white, and the mugs. The cow logo. The cow logo is the it's hard to be heard in a herd. So let's be original. And the books are available at Amazon. Thank you for everyone. These videos have become a little bit spasmodic at the moment. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you want to watch my videos, please watch them all the way to the end, because YouTube punishes videos that are cut short. I don't know why. Until next time, guys, keep writing.